there is this. I find there is lots of misconceptions about Buddha and Buddhism. Many people take it as some kind of religion, and Buddha itself as some kind of god. So this is not a religion, and Buddha is not a god. Buddha, it's a state of mind. It's some kind of a title that everybody can potentially receive at the point when you're fully awakened. So when your mind is fully conscious and understanding all kinds of concepts.
Hey guys, welcome to our SoulFam Podcast, where I interview space holders from all over the world. I am your host, my name is Karolina, and I am the Connection Catalyst. Today's guest is Weronika, yoga teacher and a student of Buddhist philosophy. Welcome to the show, Weronika. How are you doing?
Hello, nice to see you. I'm a little bit stressed, but yes, it's okay. It's a beautiful day, I hope.
That's normal. I was stressed on my first podcast as well, but there's nothing to stress about. We're just here to have a beautiful conversation. And I'm really curious about your path, about how you started, yoga, and even how you got into Buddhism, because, it's quite a unique path that you're walking. So how did it all start for you? Where did your spiritual journey begin?
All right. Before I answer your question, I will just tell you one thing, like logistics. I hear your voice with a little bit of distraction, so forgive me if I will ask you to repeat the questions from time to time, or if I will take a little bit more time to understand you. Anyways, answering the first question, this one I understood. Wow, the beginning. You are on the path, so you know that there is no beginning. But if you ask me about this life, the beginning. I think I was just born as a very curious child. But the moment when I entered the yogic path, I was already 18 years old, so it was not very early. I was not born in a family of yogis or Buddhist practitioners, not at all. I entered because the message came. It was very common message. I heard that this is something relaxing, like yoga is something relaxing, and that it's some kind of activity or sport which is a little bit different to the others, and it just made me curious. So this was the beginning. This was the beginning with yoga. Then, if you ask me about the meditation and Buddhism. This came even earlier, in fact, because it came with my curiosity related to the questions that nobody could answer. No teachers, no priests, no random people, friends. I think the answers were coming from the everyday life and my experience related to the nature and activities, but they were not coming from the teachers. So I was just digging deeper and deeper into the texts and books and searching for them. And eventually one day I remember I found the teachings of Buddha, few simple teachings, and it was online, it was Wikipedia or something like this. And I was like, wow, this sounds exactly like my thinking. And so this was the beginning. And then later I could tell you stories, but I don't know if we have time for that.
I would love to hear some stories, of course. I'm absolutely interested and curious about it all. Alrighty, with a little bit of a technical issue, but now we're back. So, I wanted to ask about the Buddhist philosophy, because I heard, of course, about Buddhism and a few, philosophies or just beliefs that Buddhists have, but I don't know much about it. So, if if someone listens that doesn't know really anything about it, what would you say as the most important message based on all these philosophies that was maybe the most important for you, or just generally for people? What would you like to share?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so to start with, I must say that I'm not a Buddhist teacher, and according to the teachings I am receiving, I'm not allowed to teach Buddhism. So if I answer this question, I can only say what I think, what I understood so far, but this is not the teaching coming from the Lama or from someone who is allowed to teach. So please take it just as my thinking loud. Okay?
Sure.
And this is, by the way, how my own teacher, who is pretty good, says always, "Oh, I'm just thinking loud" when I share with you. and he's quite a wise guy, I would say, very well educated. But okay, so my thinking loud, what is Buddhism? All right, so maybe I will answer what is Buddha. That will be better. There is this. I find there is lots of misconceptions about Buddha and Buddhism. Many people take it as some kind of religion, and Buddha itself as some kind of god. So this is not a religion, and Buddha is not a god. Buddha, it's a state of mind. It's some kind of a title that everybody can potentially receive at the point when you're fully awakened. So when your mind is fully conscious and understanding all kinds of concepts. So I really like this definition that Buddha mind is the mind that understands all the concepts, but is at the same time free from all of them. So to give you an example, it's like someone who can explain you absolutely everything, whatever you ask, quantum physics, how to make whatever some meal, let's say, yes, why dogs are barking, whatever question you might have. And then the Buddha will give you the answer using the conceptual language that you are in, adjusting to your cultural context and everything that you need to understand. But at the same time, Buddha will be free from all that concepts, will be able to answer the same question in front of completely different persons, speaking different language, coming from different culture, with different concepts, different maybe even words, examples. And it will be understood. It will be giving the clear answer that will really reach you and awaken you and make you feeling this blissful moment, like, this is why, I understand now. So Buddha is that state when you are able to, when you understand everything and when you can share it. It's not a god. The potential is within everybody. It's a human it's a human thing. It's a quality within a human. Everybody, you, me, everybody has that potential.
So it's kind of like we are a divine channel for the divine energy to flow and divine wisdom to flow, and we can understand everything, but at the same time we are pure, we are clean inside, because we're just a vessel for the divine wisdom to flow, and we are not comprehending comprehending everything with the mind, but we're just connected. That's how I understand it. Is that correct?
In Buddhism, they use the word consciousness. Then they don't say of divine flow or energy. Of course, they understand these words, but they say consciousness, fully awakened, fully conscious consciousness, which is permanently traveling and flowing. There is no beginning, no end. So yeah, you can use these words, yes, but I think consciousness is the word which probably is more proper.
Resonates more. And so,
Yeah.
Can the Buddhist philosophy help someone on their healing journey?
On the healing journey?
Yes.
Of course, the path, the Buddhist path, it's the path towards the healing. It's the path towards the awakening. So I like to think that it doesn't really matter if you really are conscious of this, that there is something like the Buddha state of mind or Buddha nature, the fully awakened one, or not. But you anyways are on that path to heal yourself, right? Like everybody is searching for happiness. Nobody wants to suffer. So once you reach the understanding that there is something like the Buddha teaching or the Buddha nature, then probably it's becoming a little bit easier because you have a clear guidance and source of knowledge. But so yes, in short, the answer is yes, of course. It's helping to heal. Yeah.
Perfect. So what's your favorite perspective of Buddhism that has helped you the most on your path?
Wow, this is nice that you asked me this, because I have already answered to this question. I answered that question a few times, and I really remember myself in that very moment when I was suffering a lot, and I was not understanding why certain things are happening in my life and in life in general around me, why there is so much suffering, confusion, and argues between people and disappointments. So then eventually I met someone who started sharing his understanding related to Buddha and teachings of Buddha. And he explained me the teaching related to the change. So everything is changing all the time. And we must accept that. That's simple like that. And he used that perfect example. He said, like, look at this table that is in front of us. It's not alive. It doesn't have feelings. It doesn't have emotions. It's probably not thinking. And we know that within the time, this table will change. It will first get some scratches. Later, the maybe leg will break. Eventually, it will fall apart. And in some years, there will be no table anymore. It will be taken by some, I don't know, insects probably, and turn into soil. Maybe by fire until turn into dust. And the same is think then about the human, about your mind. You are all the time interacting, you're all the time thinking, you're all the time consuming, exchanging informations, and you wish to be all the time in the same joyful state that comes to you once when you're, for example, in love with somebody, or when you're in some kind of nice relationship. This is from the beginning an expectation that is never be able to, you cannot fulfill that. So you just need to accept the change. It's all the time happening in the universe.
Yeah, that's such a deep and simple teaching. And it's so true. And, I also see it as like, yeah, everything is changing. And thanks to this change, we also have a comparison and we can kind of like feel the polarity. Because if we would be happy all the time, as people want, really, because, people think that we can reach happiness and just be there. But
Yeah.
as the saying in enlightened, community, or and let's say spiritual community, there is a saying that if you think you're enlightened, go live with your parents for a week and you'll see, right? Because you always have this polarity. It's true.
Yeah,
you
but
all
don't, I just want to say, like, I'm not an enlightened person, so I'm not in that community.
Yeah, I know. I mean community of spiritual people that's kind of try
Yeah.
to reach enlightenment, right? They
Mm.
kind of like, yeah, if you think you're enlightened, just go live with your parents and you'll see. Because it always will give you this polarity, this kind of like lesson, right? There's always more to work through, there's always more to learn from, and there's always more to grow. So absolutely, we need these negative feelings, we need these negative experiences even to make us realize how lucky we are when we feel all these positive things. And we wouldn't probably appreciate all these beautiful feelings of love or happiness if we didn't have a comparison to the negative ones. So I believe that this polarity is very necessary. And because like, if you, for example, if you fast and you don't have food for a while, the first bite of food after, let's say, 3 days of fasting is like, oh my God, I finally eat something. And it's like you appreciate it so much more than if you would be eating every day and you wouldn't have this change for a moment. So I think this, changing environment, changing life, and even changing emotions for negative sometimes, it's a beautiful thing because then we can really experience the whole range. We can experience life to the fullest. And so, yeah, it's such a beautiful thing to remember. And thank you for sharing that, because I think it's great for our for people who listen to remember that and to accept it. Although it's not always easy to accept the life circumstances. So from what I understood, you were in, not that good life situation, and then this teaching has changed you. So how did you manage to accept it, to actually like implement it into your life?
Mm. Well, following that teaching came also the explanation how to meditate. So I started meditating. I started learning how to keep the mind in a stillness and focus on one point. First, it was some detailed meditations related to certain kind of visual aspects and repetitions of mantras. Then later on, I discovered more of one-pointed meditation related to just following the breath, shina it's called, or shamatha, depends which language we use. And yeah, this is you see, you said something that I want to comment on. Two things, like about this change. You said that, yeah, it's necessary, we need to accept it, right? It's, I don't know if it's necessary, honestly speaking, but it is unchangeable. This is the only thing that we cannot change as long as we keep ourselves in this material world. So then if we want to try to fight it in the material reality, it's a lost fight. This is, this is the most universal law, physics, that everything is all the time exchanging on this atomic level, or proton, atom, whatever are they called, however they are called. This is all the time exchange. And but then if you want to stop it, if you really want to go for that fight, the only way to stop it is to learn how to meditate and how to keep your mind still. This is how you slowly start learning how to be in peace or in that joyful state, and then you try to move it from the meditation pillow to your everyday circumstances, and slowly you're becoming, let's say, a master. There is that potential where you can become a master. I want to comment one more thing that you said about, if you think you're an enlightened person, go and meet your parents and stay for a few days and then see if you are. This is exactly what my teacher of yoga, this time not the Buddhist teacher, but the teacher of yoga, told me at the end of the experience I had in India when I was making my certification to teach yoga. He said to me and to other students, like, okay, so now you know how to teach few asanas and pranayamas and this and that. And you probably are even quite good in teaching it between yourselves, maybe between your friends. But if you want to become a good teacher, you need to heal your closest family members. This will be the moment when you can call yourself a teacher. Until you are just teaching, like random people who come and leave, this is more of a playground for you. But the real teaching starts when you reach that point that your family members will tell you that they are benefiting from your teachings, and you will see the real change in them. And this is exactly like you say, it's so hard. The moment you face your mother, father, wife, child, whatever that is the closest to you, maybe brother or sister, if you are lucky to have them, then the fun part starts. This is
Right.
this is the moment when you are not enlightened anymore. you are just shouting or crying, and that's it.
Yep, absolutely. Childhood trauma gets triggered, and then obviously we're on a beautiful, bumpy ride of healing. But I
Yeah.
believe that, like when we talk about bliss and peace and happiness in a way, unconditional happiness, even, I believe personally, and it's just based on my own experience, that the more you can accept these negative feelings, these triggers from childhood traumas, as we were talking, with your family, your friends, or whoever, really, we can be triggered by anyone in life. But the more we can be okay with these negative feelings and actually allow them to come up and understand them more, and just really accept that this is what it is. And we are here on earth in a human experience, so we are meant to experience emotions. And I believe that the more we can allow all these negativity to come up, the more we can actually express it, and then all this stuff that was suppressed in us from childhood can finally be let out, can finally be allowed to leave our body in a way. Because if we resist it, we still keep it inside. And so that makes us, be triggered and triggered and triggered again. Whereas if we actually allow it once and for all, and we go as deeply as we possibly can with acceptance of this feeling, then it can finally, leave our body and we can let it out. So how does Buddhism relate to negativity in general?
How does Buddhism relate to negativity? Well, okay. Well, if you want to follow the path of Buddha, you just try to act in a way that you don't create negativity, or you don't create suffering, if I can use suffering as a substitute for this word, negativity. And I remember now, once I was going for a teaching with a famous Lama from Tibet, and there was big expectation from everybody, like waiting for the teaching to happen. And he comes, sits down, and he says like this: okay, so you want to learn what Buddha said, right? You know what? In short, it's like this: just do what makes others happy, and don't do what makes others sad, or don't create suffering. Do you have any questions? This was it, And then there were maybe 2-3 questions, and then he said, like, okay, so now just go and practice. Go first. You can sit, meditate, but then go and practice with the people. Like, just don't make them suffer. Don't create any negativity, and make whatever makes them happy. That's it.
So simple and yet so difficult, right?
You were so disappointed from that teaching, like, come on, we traveled hundreds of kilometers to meet you. The teaching was finished in 15 minutes. But at the same time, it was the best teaching you could get. And the other teacher who I follow often says, like, at the end of the teachings, which sometimes take weeks or days, he says, just go and practice. Stop expecting that I will make it for you. I cannot make it for you. Just learn how to do that.
Absolutely. Everyone can only heal themselves, right? Everyone can only, facilitate growth for themselves. No one can achieve enlightenment for us. No one can heal. No one can release negativity, or no one can be kind for us.
Exactly.
So absolutely, it's a great, practice, and it's a great teaching, because it makes it very potent if he just came out and said this one thing, because then people are like, it must be very important if this is the only thing that he said. So then people maybe, would take it in even more. But that's really funny, the story. Probably people were traveling for days to see the Lama, and then 15 minutes, that's it. That's funny.
And then everybody goes, its own direction. So, like, just like, because we think it's the spiritual, like, awakening or enlightenment. It's something that we can buy. You travel, you will invest this money, you will sit in a meditation pose, be ready to listen or receive something, and you think it just will come, like, like from the supermarket, or maybe you will push some kind of button in a toy, and then something will change. But that's not the point. Like, the change needs to start within us, and then we need to learn how to practice by everyday, actually everyday, I would say, word that we express to our outside world, and everyday action, every thought. They separate it into these 3 things. Thinking influences your speaking. Speaking influences your interactions, your actions. So just be conscious of every thought, then you will be aware of every word that you say, and then you will see what kind of actions come from that, or what kind of nice or not nice influence, karmic influence it gives. Yeah, like the words. I think we also forget about this, how important is the language that we use. I'm very bad in that. Like, I often think that people are ready to, it's something you also said. Like, I often think that people are ready to hear the straightforward truth, or the whatever I think is the truth. So I am, like, you spoke about this acceptance of the inner child, and letting it to be expressed. Just let it out and be what you think, what you feel you are. And so I'm like that. I'm just expressing what I feel. Like, my inner child is just like this, so I'm saying it. But this often creates so much suffering in the outside world. Like, people don't want to hear the truth, at least not in the language that we tend to use. Just like this, like, there is this skill, diplomacy. I'm not very good in that, but I think it's a very important skill to learn how to pronounce what we feel as this inner child in a way that will be making our friends, our family, our people around feel good, not just leave them with this deep pain and stress. So this is also something to think about, I believe, the language we use.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with that. And what I am practicing right now, and I'm maybe not a master of it yet, but what I realize is the framing or pre-framing of how you're working with your emotions, and also the asking for consent, are 2 very big things when it comes to expressing your feelings, because yeah, we can, if we authentically feel, for example, sad or angry or whatever it is, if we can pre-frame to someone, and I usually, when I call a friend or I go to my family, especially people who are very emotional about me being emotional, like my mom, or my grandma, or people who are very close to me, I usually say, look, I just need to express some feelings. It's not bad that I'm expressing it right now. It's just something that I need to let out of my body in order to heal. And could you just be with me and understand me, and just, you don't even need to say anything. I just need to let it out of my body so that I feel better within me. And I just need to cry right now, or I just need to, and then if they agree on that, and with the, with the pre-framing that it's actually not bad, it's actually healing for me when I do this, then I think it's, way better or way easier for someone to handle it. And, as you say, sometimes people feel bad when we feel bad. But if we can explain to them how it works, why we do it, and then also ask them if it's okay for them to hold space for us, if it's okay if we cry in front of them right now, because sometimes maybe someone can be so vulnerable in their own world at the moment, or in their own feelings, that they might not want to hear you, or they might be, heading to a very important business meeting and they need to focus right now, and then they could get distracted and, just out of their way, in a way, when they listen to us being really, really emotional and really negative. So I feel like if you communicate it well with people around you, and especially, people who are closest to you, it would be good for them to know what you're up for and what you're doing and why you're doing this. Because when my family and friends understand that, I am powerful and I'm just going through my feelings, and I'm going to be done with it soon after I express them all, and I'm going to feel better and I'm going to feel relief, then they don't treat it as like, oh my God, she feels so bad, I feel sorry for her. It's like, oh my God, it's so amazing that she's healing right now and that I can be here for her to go through this and to help her let it out.
Yes, I agree. And even just listening to you now gave me an idea um, that there is something that we are often missing in between within our closest relations. That just to ask, like, please accept me as I am now. I am in emotions. This is something that's going to change within a few minutes, maybe hours, maybe days, but this is it now. And don't take it too seriously also, but just let me be and let me say it, and please accept it and try to help me to just be it. Yeah, well, you just gave me a teaching. Thank you.
You're welcome. That's what I do, and it helps really. And also I feel like it's important to also communicate how you would like to be received, because some people who don't work with emotions, they don't really know how to handle them or what to say. And I feel like for some people, sometimes I call my friends that are not that familiar with inner child work, shadow work that I do for work. So I do it on a daily basis. So, but they are not that familiar. So when I call them, I say, look, I would love to talk to you now, and I would love to express some emotions. And what I need from you is for you to tell me, I understand you. I'm here with you. It's okay to feel the way you feel. Your feelings are valid. And that's it. And this is all I need, because some people straight away jump to, for example, giving us ideas. And I know because I was like that. I was this kind of person years ago. When someone was emotional, I would straight away give them the idea of what they can do to change it. And then that's it. It's sorted, right? Like, there's not much to it. It's like, okay, you're sad. What can we do to make you happy? Okay, do this. And that's it, right? There was no. That's true. That's who I was. I was just taking all my feelings, putting them into the box, and just storing it in the back of my subconscious mind, and never really looking into it. But also means that everyone can get in touch with their feelings, and everyone can actually get more familiar with feeling and feeling deeper, because I was not a good feeler a few years ago. When I only started my journey of emotions maybe like 3 years ago, and now I feel like I'm a master of it. So that's an encouragement for people who are like, oh, I don't really feel, or I cannot really go deep into my feelings. Well, you can. It comes with practice, just like yoga, just like training muscles, just like something else. But you need to get familiar and accept it. And the more you can accept it, the more you can feel it as well. But yeah, I just wanted to say that, for people who just give you like straight away the solution. And sometimes it's not what you need. You need to tell them like what you need in the moment. And I found the most healing is if you first can be with someone who understands how you're feeling and who is present, and then after you let out all the feelings, they can give you some maybe piece of advice or something else that you need. But even advice, I feel like you know, it would be good for the person who gives you advice to actually check if you're ready to receive it. Because, you know, as I say, in the past I would be like, yeah, let's just sort it, let's just, you know, do this or do that. But it was complete I was completely unattuned to people, because what they needed is just to be hugged and just to be present with them and just to be understood, and not to actually resolve it yet or to solve the problem yet. So I think it's also
Yeah.
important to communicate what is it that you exactly need for your healing right now. And sometimes it is going to be, let's go have fun. Sometimes, right? If your heart says that right now to resolve the issue you need to just have fun and focus on something positive, or go in and solve the problem, that's great. But oftentimes what's going to happen is that you actually need just presence, someone to be there with you as you experience it.
Yeah, I think you seem to be a very strong and confident person, and for people like you, it's the world works like this: like, here's the problem and here's the solution. Just do it. That's it. But we like this. Many people, exactly like you said, are not ready for the action yet, and are not even ready to hear the truth about how to solve it. They just need a little bit of support and space to be. And this reminds me of another teaching of a Buddha, which is all about compassion, or call it maybe empathy. We often tend to use that word in the Western cultures. So compassion, like try to feel the other person, and I don't know if I should say feel sorry, but kind of, yeah, just feel that person and understand that he or she is maybe not as confident or as wise, as awakened as you are, as able to perceive the reality as you do. So for that moment, the only thing they need is just that hug, or just, you know, learn to listen to that person and give a cup of tea, and that will be better help than telling them like, you know what, you just failed again.
Yeah, yeah,
Because you didn't do what I told you.
yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. And you know, I when it comes to like feeling sorry for someone, I feel like compassion to me at least means to feel what other is feeling and to just really be understanding of it, to understanding on a level of feeling. Because I feel like there could be understanding intellectually, like, okay, this person is sad, and you just think, okay, this is sadness. But you can also feel how sad someone feels in your body, and this is what attunement or compassion is to me. But I wouldn't say feeling sorry is the same thing, at least in my perspective, because I feel like in the collective consciousness, if you say that you feel sorry for someone, in a way, you subconsciously gi- like take their power away in a way, because you are like, okay, this person is so powerless, they cannot change where they are at, so I'm going to feel sorry for them because they are so poor. And you know, it's kind of like yeah, just decreasing their value in a way subconsciously. Because if you think like, okay, this person is powerful, they are just going through some feelings, but I can feel these feelings, I'm here with them, but they are powerful enough to change it. They are a creator, they are divine, they can do anything they want with their life. And I think that's kind of the opposite of feeling sorry for someone, because, you know, yeah, if you feel sorry, it's like this underlying feeling that they cannot do anything about it. Or at least that's in my perspective. What do you think about it?
Yeah, well, probably feeling sorry or feeling feeling compassionate should go together with some kind of opening or um, advice related to the direction which maybe is good to go, or being maybe differently. I would say like this: being compassionate should be also related or connected to the teachings which you are ready to give, if the person will ask for that, if that person eventually will say like, all right, so here was the moment when I was sad and emotional, this is over now, or I'm ready to ask you a question. What do you think I could do? Or what do you think could be helpful for me? But this is also, I'm speaking, my answer is such because this reminded me of another teaching of Buddha, which is related to the fact that we should not be teaching the others or giving them advices until they don't ask for them.
Yep.
So if they come to us with emotions and they just want to cry or shout, but they are not asking for teachings, they're not asking for advices, we should not tell them like, okay, you know what, just do this, or yeah, like that. We should be there, hold the space, and wait until the moment they will ask the question, can you help me, or what do you think about this, or do you know any teachings about it, do you know any practice which could be helpful? Well, good theory. In practice, I also very often fail with this, and I'm like ready with all the solutions. lately, even I was so much ready to share with everybody who is vaccinated. Like, you know what? If you lost your immune system, if you feel that your immune system got worse after the vaccinations, just use the cumin oil. It's already discovered it's going to help you to heal and get back your immune system strong. And this is the taboo topic for many people. Don't tell me that the vaccine was bad for me. So it resulted with some stressful moments later on. But let's not talk about that one.
Maybe not. Maybe let's skip
Maybe not.
this.
No.
Everyone
But
has the very divided opinions about it, but I believe that everyone is also different, so everything works differently for everyone. But yeah, when it comes to these opinions, sometimes we forget to ask about consent, because we can, if we strongly feel in our intuition that someone would maybe benefit from our advice, we can always ask, like, would you be open right now to me giving you feedback on that? But if we don't do that, then we are kind of crossing a boundary of someone, because it's like, why would we give someone something that they don't even want, right?
Karolina, I think I lost you for a moment, but yeah, I try to catch up with this. Anyways, I don't know if you mind if I would like to come back to the topic which you mentioned before about this being enlightened or being awakened, because I feel like this is really important in here to maybe bring a little bit of informations about what it means to be enlightened according to the teachings which are being given by the Buddhist lamas or let's say teachers who study this text related to that path of awakening. And I feel like many people misunderstand that topic of enlightenment, and they think that enlightenment is something that you reached, you are there, or you are not there. And according to the teachings and also my experience and whatever I perceive around me, the enlightenment, it's a process, and it's not that you will become fully awakened and then it's there. Like, the potential that you become a Buddha at this point of our civilization is very little.
Especially at this point.
so it would be a bit ridiculous to say like, oh, I'm enlightened. Like, okay, what does it mean for you? Maybe you know how to make a tea, or so you have the explanation of how to make a tea, and this is your enlightenment. Here is your enlightenment ending. Maybe you know how to explain how the engine of your car works, and this is your enlightenment zone, and this is what you know, this is what you can explain. But are you fully enlightened? I really doubt, because I see you emotional and angry every day. And so I just wanted to say that according to the teachings, the state of enlightenment starts at the point when your mind is fully joyful all the time. So there is not any more ups and downs. You are simply not experiencing within your mind any kind of suffering. You, of course, are conscious of that the physical realm, the beings around you suffer and are not enlightened. But you yourself, within your mind, you don't perceive that, you don't experience that anymore. It's often said it's a joyous mind, and this is a state that is present all the time, from the moment you wake up until the moment you fall asleep, and even the moment when you're dreaming. It's all the time joyous mind. So this is the first stage of the enlightened mind. So saying, "Oh, I am enlightened," is
quite funny.
it's quite funny, but there is another term, which is to be awakened, and this is something else. However, people often use these two words as some kind of synonyms. However, it's not the same. So, as far as I understand, and probably I'm wrong, maybe I'm wrong, but I will just explain how I understand what it means to be awakened. So I think to be awakened is to be aware of this, that you are not your body, that your consciousness within your body had awakened and realized that this body that I perceive is not me. Or, of course, I have that body, my consciousness is within this body, but it's not me. And I would say that maybe I'm wrong, but this is how I understand that state of awakening, that eventually you reached that moment, and it's not because you read it in the book and you understood it intellectually, but you really experience that within, that your consciousness is separated from the body. And somehow there is this moment of you waking up and looking at yourself in the mirror and realizing that this is not you. However ridiculous it might sound, like you almost look at yourself and think like, wow, like this is where I am. And it's a moment which comes, I'm speaking now from my own experience, it comes like completely out of, like, it's very unexpected. It's just you're doing something and you don't know even what actually happened right now. It's very random situation, but you're probably on the path of cleansing your body from toxins. Maybe you stopped eating meat. Maybe you are practicing yoga, asana, or some breathing practices, or maybe you are on some kind of retreats from time to time. So you're already on the path of cleansing your body and your mind from all the wrong concepts and wrong patterns of behaviors. And then eventually something happens. It's also related to, I think it's related to you practicing compassionate action. So you are very much thinking of the others and acting like, in a way that you try to be helpful, you try to be compassionate, you try to be loving, you try to be this joyous mind. And then eventually something happens in your life, you don't know even what, and this click happens, and you wake up and you realize, like, I'm here, but wow, like this is the body I own, but this is not me. I think this is something like that. And maybe again, I will just repeat, I'm not sure if the teachers who reached much higher levels of awakening would say that this is right, but that's just coming from my experience and my understandings of the teachings.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know exactly the feeling that you're talking about. I've felt it a few times in my life, but I also perceive that we are not even separated from the body. Body is kind of like a physical extension of us. And it's also, in a way, a part of us because we chose it and we are here as a consciousness experiencing life through the body as well. So I wouldn't personally say that we are separated from it, because I also, for example, experience in my life that if I heal my physical body, it also works on my emotional body, and then that also works on my other bodies, let's say my spiritual body, mental body, and all kind of levels are interconnected with each other. So I would say that the body is a part of me as well, but it's not the only part of me. And that's what I feel like awakening to me is, that okay, I have a body and this is it here, it might be a part of me, but it's not all of me, and I'm so much more than this, than what I can experience here and now. I can, I can dive deeper into my consciousness. But also, what I wanted to mention about how you said that you cannot really reach enlightenment in present times, which is quite funny, but I agree with that. But also I want to mention that maybe we don't have to reach it fully to be 24/7 in the joyous mind, but we can always do something more to, get more and more into the state. So for example, at the beginning, maybe you might be, 20% in joyous mind, and then 80% of your life not in very joyous mind. But then the more you practice, the more you meditate, the more you do yoga, exercise, healthy diet, all these things that you can do to actually increase the percentage, quote unquote, of the time that you are in this mind, that you are feeling great and positive and so on. And I'm, the living example of it. Before I started working on my childhood traumas and emotions and meditating and everything, I was mega stressed. I was like a very stressed person, and all my friends and family perceived me as that. And now, okay, it doesn't mean that I have no stress in my life ever, but the percentage of how much I'm stressed, if you look back, let's say in everyday life, it's so much lower because I've done so much work to decrease the stress levels in my body. So although maybe you are not going to be enlightened 24/7, you can do a lot. It's kind of like a message of encouragement, so that people don't get discouraged, like, oh, you're not going to be enlightened anyway, so why even try? But
Mm.
yeah, you can be more and more, like, you can be closer and closer to the state of enlightenment in your everyday life. So I think it's still worth putting all your energy into trying to reach it in a way. Do you agree with
Yes, yes, yes. Well, of course, I agree with this, that it's worth to keep on trying and expanding your state of joyous during a day. But I will say something more, because this is again a bit of maybe probably my wrong explanation that resulted with this, what you just said. Like, it is not that it's not possible right now to reach that state of permanent joyous mind. It is possible. This is the first stage of enlightenment. What I said is not possible is to become the Buddha, in the meaning of right here and now, in this times, the potential of being fully awakened, so fully enlightened, which is not the joyous mind. It's much, much more than this, including levitation, including communication with all kinds of beings, like animals or trees, and including so many things that most of us have no idea that it could potentially be possible. So I'm speaking like the Buddha state of mind. This is something that, according to the teachings, or my understanding of the teachings, at that point of our growth as a civilization, is not accessible. However, the fully joyous mind, so that first stage, or first bhumi, as they say in the Tibetan teachings, it is accessible. And I will tell you more. It is my goal for this lifetime. My goal is to reach not only the first stage, but even the second. I decided in this lifetime I want to reach the second stage, not only the first one. So yes, it is. It is. But even if I don't, like, okay, let's be humble. Even if I don't, I still totally recommend and believe and experience every day that it is worth to keep on trying, keep on learning, keep on practicing in all levels. So both sitting on the meditation cushion and spending at least, a few minutes a day. You don't need to go for 2 hour session, just 5 minutes a day. Try to focus your mind on silence. Try to be aware of your breath. Try to be aware of this, that you are able to control the emotions and states which are at that moment within your mind. And you are able to also change them, like be them, but also change them. So all of this is beginning of the practice. Then, of course, try to clean your body from all the toxins that are blocking the flow of energy, like the chemicals that is being added to so much of the food, or well, I don't want to speak about too much about the vegetarian diet. However, everybody who is on the path knows how important it is to remove the consumption of meat if you want to feel more light in your body.
Hey guys, welcome back. We had a little bit of a technical problem before, and here we are after around 12 hours recording it again. So sorry about it, but we are trying to look exactly the same as before. So hope that it doesn't interrupt your flow in watching us and listening to us. And we want to come back for a little while to the topic that we were talking about all the human bodies, according to the yogi tradition. So, Weronika, is there anything else you wanted to add in this topic?
Well, it's unlimited topic, but to finish the last question that you asked, I would just say, like, I totally advise to just go deeper into personal research on the topics of the bodies, for example, and the others. And if you feel, we can switch to another one. However, you know what I was thinking? You said 12 hours of difference. How many things had changed in your life, right? How many things had changed in my life? Like it was quite an interesting day for me, and I'm definitely not the same person I was 12 hours ago.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
we
so interesting,
started
right?
with the change. We started with the change, right? With the emotions going up and down, and this is interesting to observe. Like, are you feeling like, I don't know, wiser or more inspired or maybe more tired now than you were before?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel all of these emotions that you just mentioned. I feel more
Exactly.
inspired and more tired and everything else. So, absolutely, we are different now, but we still have a lot of wisdom to share and a lot of experience. So, I wanted to ask you and your healing journey. When it comes to yoga,
Mm.
I'm really curious about maybe some examples from your life or from people that you were working with. Like, how did they heal through yoga? Because I know a lot of people who started doing yoga and then their whole life changed, and the whole reality shifted because they started also eating healthier and changing their mindset about things. So what is your personal story of healing, and also maybe other stories if you would like to share some?
Yes, I'm definitely one of those people who had experienced a lot of changes in life. I can't say that they were all easy or just, it's not like the path from the place where you are to the place you want to be. It's quite an intense ride. And the more you practice, the more you learn, the more you discover what you had never knew before. So it's often quite shocking. And I'm sure you know what I mean, because it's like the knowledge is so unlimited. The and the potential is so unlimited. So it's once you dive in, once you hop into that ocean, you can dive so deep, and every day you are becoming more and more surprised by it. But yeah, coming back to the healing, of course, yoga is also a way to heal the body, and it is very therapeutic practice, both for all kinds of bodies. So especially for the physical body and the mental body. Um, and my personal experience, it relates to both, exactly to both. So I benefited on the mental level. It helped me very much with coming back to more joyful self. I had started my deep practice few years ago. After a few years of not practicing, I started it again, and it was the moment when I was pretty, I think I can say, depressed, or at least sad, that's for sure, and confused about many things that happened in my life. So the practice helped me to come back to myself, and within just few months, random people were stopping me and asking me, what am I doing that I shine so much? Or what am I doing that I'm so positive? What am I doing that I look so different than most of the crowd on the streets? This is the quotations. I'm not creating it now. It was just people who I had never met before stopping me and asking if I would like to go for a coffee with them and share whatever I do. So this was, or I just looked at my pictures in the phone, at myself a few months before I started the practice, and then after the practice, and I realized, that was amazing. I realized that I'm smiling on the pictures, and before I was just like, not really there, and the smile was never honest, natural, I think. And then on all the pictures, my face was just smiling. I was showing my teeth like you are doing it right now. You're good in that. I love to observe your pictures when you smile. It's your very good inspiration. So this is the
Thank
mental
you.
part. Yes, you are. And this is the mental part. And then the physical part, me personally, I'm dealing with problems with the thyroid, which is a very common disease for women. And I think it seems like it's a very common disease for everybody lately. Wherever I mention this topic, someone says that, yes, this is a big problem for them. So yoga can treat that too, and to that extent that you don't even need to take any medication apart from just vitamins and the diet, the right diet, which is also part of the yoga practice. Because if you want to use the complete system of yoga, then there will be a lot about the way how you should eat, a lot about your lifestyle, a lot about, of course, all the other practices like the breathing, like the body postures and the mind work towards meditation. If you want me to tell the exact exercises that people can do, I can, of course, but I'm not sure if this is if there is time and space for it now.
I would like you to share at least one.
Okay, so so the thyroid. Let's speak about this one because this is something that I have the most experience with, and I benefited from that. I'm still in the process of reaching the complete healthy state. If we think of that organ, which is very important organ, it stimulates most of the systems, all the hormonal, hormonal flow within the body. And so you can go from very simple postures or movements of the body which stimulate your neck, stimulate that part of the body, just like inhale, put the head up, exhale, move the head down. This is already going to activate and deliver some of oxygen to your organ. But there is also so-called queen of yoga, Sarvangasana. And this is the pose. It's inverted position. When you lay on your back, you put your legs behind the head, and then slowly, leg after leg, you move them up and support your lower back with the hands. And this position is especially beneficial. They say you should stay in it. My teachers were actually saying, like, okay, find the nicest and the longest song you have in your playlist and start playing it the moment you start practicing this asana. So let's say it's about 7 minutes. And yeah, just enjoy. The more you hate it, the more you work on the mind level. Enjoy, breathe, meditate. That's also something very important. People often tend to get super tensed and squeezed when they are in the asana position. But this is not yoga anymore. You know, when you're stressed and when your mind is just like, oh, okay, I can do it more. This is your mind is just polluted with some stress and ego, maybe proving yourself, or maybe proving your neighbor from the next mat in the studio that you can do it, that you're better. So this is not going to work. You must focus on your breath, and you must maintain this silent and peaceful state, what is also very, very important during the journey of healing the body and the mind.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. I love these exercises. I'm definitely gonna try them. And just so you know, a year ago I hated yoga. I literally didn't want to go on the mat. And it's quite funny if you think about it, but seriously, I only do yoga right now, and I'm absolutely in love with it because one of my best friends did the yogi instructor course in Bali, and I
Mm.
just fell in love with it, but only after I started doing it like 2-3 times a week consistently, or sometimes even 5 times a week, because only when you get better at it, it actually is pleasant. And at the beginning it might be quite unpleasant because you're not stretched, and your body is quite tense, and you don't really know all these poses. And downward facing dog is not a resting position for you at the beginning. You're just like, it's not pleasant at all, and you just kind of try to hold it. But right now I can say, I'm absolutely in love with it. I can feel how it is influencing my body, my mind, my emotions. Sometimes even when I have like some pain or tension in my body, I just set an intention before the practice, and then it's all gone after the practice. And the same with the emotion.
Mm.
If I have some emotions coming up and I'm just like, okay, now on the mat, I'm releasing it out of my body, and it works for me every single time. So I feel like, for me, as a not as a teacher, but just as a, um,
Practitioner.
hobby yogi practitioner, because I cannot say I always do it, but I really intend to do it 3 times a week, just for my body and my mind, because I truly believe it's a very deep spiritual practice. And I didn't think so a year ago. I was just like,
Mm.
that's not really for me. But now I know that you just need to make yourself do it until you get as good at it as you're gonna feel okay with all the poses and know how to do them correctly. Because also that's another thing, like if I didn't know how to do them, then for example I could create pain for myself rather than actually creating
Mm.
release. So but yeah, I'm absolutely for yoga, and I know how healing it can be on all these levels, as you said, mental, physical, emotional, because it's all interconnected anyway. And if it's like an ancient practice really of the union of
Mm.
body, mind, and soul,
Exactly.
then there is something about it. Ancient people knew what they are talking about. They knew. We don't even know as much as they knew, I believe, sometimes, but we are getting there. So yeah, thanks so much for sharing that. I'm really grateful, especially for this practice. I'm definitely gonna try it, and I hope that all our listeners are gonna try it too, and check how they how much they can stand it. Because for me it's probably not going to be long, but I will try. I'll do my best to stay in this position. Is it the one that in Polish we say it's like a candle pose, like when you put your legs up and you like stand on your hands?
Ah,
It's like
świeca, right. Yeah, we say candle pose. That's
yeah,
true.
we say candle. Yeah.
Yes, this is it. This is it. Exactly. We know it. Everybody in Poland knows it from the sports classes in the
Exactly.
primary school. At least
Exactly.
we used to practice this. I'm not sure what it is. Sport class those days, those crazy days. How do they do sports in pandemic?
I have no idea. Probably as the
Online.
same. Yeah, the same as I do online yoga. Probably in the same way. I don't know. I don't actually know. But yeah, so unfortunately, we gotta end it here. But thank you so much, Weronika, for being here with us today. It was a pleasure to talk to you, and I hope to have you on the podcast
Thank
again at
you.
some point and talk even more, because I loved this chat. And yeah, please just share where people can find you, or maybe if they would like to contact you to reach out for some private, classes or maybe retreats, because I know that you're doing retreats as well with yoga in Portugal and maybe in other places. I don't know, but please share where our listeners could find you.
Yes, with yoga and surfing, I want to say that very clearly, because this is something that I'm very proud of. And this is also another practice of yoga which can help people to benefit and to heal and to explore new topics, especially the encounter with the water, with the ocean or with the sea. How to find me? I believe probably there is visible my name here. So if you Google this name and you say yoga, I'm sure you will find something about me. And on Instagram, my profile, it's Weronika Maria, and without any dots and stuff. Just be aware that in Polish we don't have V. So my name is written with W, Weronika with W and K, Weronika Maria. This is my Instagram profile. Well, thank you for inviting me. I feel like this is an honor to be able to represent this huge, as you said, ancient tradition in front of the people in 2022 already. It's an amazing luck that we have met each other, that we come from the same hometown, from the same city in Poland, and somehow our path after more or less 30 years had crossed. and
Yes.
and now we can do something together. So thank you for that, and I wish everybody beautiful and healthy life. And yeah, let's keep the light inside, and let's be together. Let's learn how to be
Yay!
together. One world and one love.
Oneness! Woo!
Oneness, exactly. Yoga is oneness. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, beautiful souls, for being today with us, with me and Weronika. It was a beautiful chat. I hope that you enjoyed it too. And I just want to let you know that we are preparing the directory of space holders from all over the world that will be available in some time on soulfam.com. So stay tuned to know when we are going to share it with the world. And if you want to find me and learn more about me and my services, please go to connection-catalyst.com. Thank you so much for watching and sending you much love.